Goeiemorgen, good morning, and welcome. I have often taken bus tours of new cities and regions on my first day to give me a bit of an overview. The Cape Town Sightseeing Bus, or the Red Bus as it is commonly known, is much more than that. It is a hop-on, hop-off bus service that only costs about $18 for a one-day adult pass. There are two main loops, the blue and red loops, as well as an additional loop to Groot Constantia Wine Estate. We did the blue route that includes 12 possible stops. We bought our tickets and boarded the bus at the V&A Waterfront stop near the watershed. The tour exits the waterfront and pass by the new Cape Town Convention Center. After that, it heads up Long Street. In the 1930s to 60s, many big cities demolished their historical centers and built skyscrapers and massive road networks. Cape Town instead reclaimed a lot of land from the ocean, but this had the unintended effect of saving the historical downtown. These days, Long Street, Loop Street, and to some degree Bree Street has a mix of old Victorian buildings and just about every architectural movement since. It is now filled with restaurants, bars, an eclectic mix of shops, hotels, and hostels. It really comes alive at night, though, like many inner city areas, I would advise you being smart and staying safe. At the end of Loop Street is St. Martini Church, a German Lutheran church that still serves the German community in Cape Town. Just past that, you can see the entrance to the Mount Nelson Hotel. The Pink Lady has been open as a first-class establishment since 1899. And her guest list is a who's who of international dignitaries. What a view! Watching the clouds stream off Table Mountain, the famous tablecloth. It is said that this signals coming rain, and this time it was correct as it rained the next day. Cape Town has always been known for its characters. Who still remembers the suit guy in his colorful suits? We got a glimpse of one of the current generation of characters. Up against the mountains, you can see the famous pepper pots. Built in the 1960s, many believe they spoil the beauty of the mountain. But after 60 years, they are part of the mosaic that is Cape Town. We pass by some established neighborhoods and look down at the more industrial part of the harbor. Then the road curves around Devil's Peak. You used to be able to see antelope grazing on the lower slopes of Devil's Peak near Rhodes Memorial, and I was saddened to hear that they were removed in 2018 due to the water restrictions. I am hoping for their return. I am not sad that most of the invasive pines have been removed. Further around the curve, you can see the ivy-covered walls of the University of Cape Town. My dad used to teach here many, many years ago, and I used to come here for practice. It is often ranked as the best university in all of Africa. The university moved to these premises in 1928. And much of the upper campus that you can see was laid out at this time. Every street corner in South Africa is a market, and much of the wire and bead craft that you see are handmade. This is one of my favorite parts of the drive. The southern slopes of Table Mountain are much wetter, and thus much more green and lush. Coming from a desert, I love to see the forest-like gardens. And then we get to the real gardens and turn into the drive to Kirstenbosch National Botanical Gardens. This will be our first hop-off stop. Kirstenbosch more than deserve a video all by itself. Hopping back on, we pass over Constantia Neck. While there is still a fair amount of invasive pine and eucalyptus trees, they are being slowly replaced by local indigenous forest. I will be talking more about townships, informal settlements, in a later video. But I think it's important to at least acknowledge their presence. Our second hop off is at Hout Bay Beach and Hout Bay Harbor. Mariner's Wharf has been serving some of the freshest seafood around since 1984. Hout Bay Harbor is still very much a working harbor, with all the sights and smells that this brings. If you are here over the weekend, there are usually some curio stalls near the parking area, and if you work further along the harbor to the far end, there is the Bay Harbor Market, one of my favorite markets for eats and shopping. From Hout Bay, we follow the Atlantic seaboard back to Cape Town. This used to be one of my favorite motorbike rides, and honestly, some of these roads are just about wide enough for a motorcycle. The bus drivers have nerves of steel and exceptional skills. With the tiny roads and traffics, there were a few times that I really didn't think we were going to fit. But soon you're captivated by the views. Small white sand beaches surrounded by smooth granite boulders alternate with stretches of boulders and rocky beaches. Much of this part of the mountain and coastline is protected. The mountains to the right are called the 12 Apostles. Don't try to count, there is definitely more than 12. Then we reach the big white sand beach at Camps Bay. This is also a hop-off stop. In addition to the sand and the sea and the surf, there is a lot of restaurants and bars that line the beachside, and it is a popular place to stay. It features one of the numerous tidal pools that you can find all along the Cape coastline, allowing for some safe swim time. But be warned, the water can be very, very cold. The beach is enjoyed by tourists and locals alike, and some other Cape Town residents as well. After Camps Bay, you can look down at the 4 Clifton beaches. But you would be excused if you looked at the houses of the rich and famous up against the mountainside instead. My boss had an architectural office in one of these houses, only reachable by a set of very steep stairs. Past Clifton is Sea Point and then Green Point. I would suggest these as the best places to stay during your visit to Cape Town. Sea Point doesn't have a white sand beach going down into the oceans, but the locals enjoys the pools, and you can find locals and tourists alike along the promenade. There is much to see and do, and you will find many active Cape Townians walking and jogging along the coastline. When you see Greenpoint Lighthouse, you're almost back at the waterfront. To your right, beyond the golf course, is the new stadium. And if you're doing this over the weekend, don't miss the Oranje Zicht City Farm Market. But sadly, for now, our trip is over.